Today I'm going to show you guys how to field strip and clean your Tisas 1911 D10 and 10mm, and that's coming up next here on Just Be Outdoors. Welcome back everybody, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment down below if you like videos like this. First off, I'd like to give a shout out to Gene from Reload from the Hot Pot for loading us this gun. In case you guys never saw the video, I'll leave a card up above here for you to check it out to watch me shoot this thing. Had a little bit of issue with my reloads on it, but this thing was a blast. Now it's time to get it cleaned up to give it back to Gene. So we're going to take it over to the table. I'm going to show you guys how to field strip it, clean it, put it back together, and then it'll be nice and clean for Gene. Let's get started. Now the first thing we're going to do is safety check this. As always, we got to make sure the gun is clear. Nothing in the chamber. No magazine in it. This thing is clear. First thing I always like doing is putting the safety on. And then we got our plug here for the recoil spring. What you want to do is you're going to push down on that, and then this barrel bushing here, you're going to turn it to this side. That's what I'm going to do here real quick. I'm going to pan the camera up just so you guys can see what I'm doing up here. So I'm pushing down on that, and I'm going to move the barrel bushing over. I move it over just enough to hold the plug just like that. And then I make sure my thumb's on it to turn it the rest of the way. And then you're going to lift up slowly on it. Now you don't want this pointing at you because that's under spring tension. If it slips, it's going to nail you. And then I've also had it where I've slipped up and it shot up and it's hit the ceiling. We're just going to pull that plug off, put it to the side. And then the recoil spring is going to stay in there. You can see you can't pull it out because the guide rod's on it. So the next thing we're going to do now is I'm going to scroll back down here with the camera. Get it set back up here. Alright, now the next thing we're going to do is take the safety off. And you can see how you got two slots right here. What we have to do is move this back and line this first slot up right here with the slide release. Once you do that and get it lined up, see, we are about perfect right there. You're going to come around to this side and you're going to push on this piece. You want to push it in really good to pop it out on the other side. Sometimes it's hard and you might have to grab something to push it in. I'm going to use the back part of my jag here, give it a nice little push, and then what that's going to do is help you grab it on this side, get it to pop out here. This one is very, very stiff, so it's going to fight me, but we'll get it pulled out here. And there you go. Now that you got that piece pulled out, we'll put it to the side and your slide will come off. I'm going to set the frame down here. Now what you want to do is grab that guide rod and recoil spring, pull that out of there, take your barrel bushing here, move it over to the other side, and that will pop out just like that. Now we can come down to this end, push up on it. Sometimes on 1911s, the way these locking lugs are, I have issues getting it out. So this is where I'm going to come to you guys. If you got a trick to make those come out easier, let me know. But now that we got it going forward, we want to make sure our link right here, push that down so the link is down facing forward, and we can shove this right out the end. And then there's our barrel and there's our slide. Let's move on to the next thing. Now for a cleaner, we're going to use this Professor Pew CLP here. I don't like using CLP as a lubricant, but I will use it as a cleaner. And the first thing I'm going to do is put this over here, and I'm going to spray down the barrel. Get that cleaner there until it comes off. And then I'm going to spray the actual barrel to get that all cleaned up. Then we're going to leave that on this part of the mat. That's one thing I like about this mat, it can separate it. Now the next thing I'm going to do is you can see how gunked up the inside of this frame is. So we're just going to do some small little squirts on all that, make sure we get in the rails, and then get down in the magazine well. That's one spot a lot of people don't check. We'll let that sit over here. And then what we're going to do on the frame is, since this ain't got an open firing pin channel like a Glock or a Striker fires, we're just going to spray in the rails here. Get that all cleaned up. We're going to let that sit for a minute and then we'll wipe it all down. Now the first thing I'm going to do is take the slide. I'm going to take a big piece of cleaning cloth here. And you can see how nasty that was in there. And I'm going to get all that excess cleaner off with this. And get this cleaned up. Get down in the locking blocks here. You can see where some's dripping out the end. We're going to get this completely wiped down here with this. And then I'll be back and I'll show you the next step. Okay, now I got all that excess wiped down off there. And you can see how dirty that was. That was the patch there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a cotton swab, or some people might have Q-tips. Go down the rails here. And this one here, depending how dirty it is, you can see it's pretty dirty. What some people do, I got a nylon brush here. They'll go through and brush out the rails. Sometimes I do this depending on how bad it is. But you can brush the rails down and that'll knock a lot of that off there. And then we'll just take our cotton swab again and go through there and clean that all up. You can see how dirty that's getting. I'm going to grab a clean one here and show you another thing I do. There's a channel right up here and a channel right down there. Got some of that cotton on my finger there. We'll go down that real quick. Just one swipe, you can see that's a little bit dirty there. But I'm going to get the rest of this cleaned up. I'm not going to show you me scrubbing all the rails and everything. Now you know what I'm doing, and I'll be right back. Now one other place you want to get is here. I'm going to hold it at an angle and get a little bit of light. This is where your locking lugs lock up. Make sure you get down in there. You can see that gets filthy too down in there. That's one place where I always oil on the 1911. So you definitely want to make sure you get that cleaned up. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the breech face here. You can see where the firing pin and everything is. I do not spray anything on there. Absolutely nothing. What I do is I just take my brush and I scrub it. Get it towards the camera here so you can see. I'm just going back and forth on that breech face. Then where the extractor is right here, get up underneath that with your brush, because that's one place they'll get gunked up and then it won't extract right. Just clean that up right there. Then what we're going to do is put that down, and I'm going to grab a clean patch here if I can get it apart. And we're going to wipe that down real quick with a clean patch. You can see it's clean. I'm just going to do one quick wipe. And you can see how dirty that area gets right there. So I'm going to wipe this down, and then I'll be back and show you the next step. Alright, now we're done with the slide, and you can see everything is nice and clean in there. Got that all cleaned up. I'm going to put that off to the side here. And we will give this another wipe down later, because it's going to need it, because it's going to get in the oil and everything on here, but I'll show you that in a little bit. Now we got the frame here, and we're going to clean this up. You can see how nasty that was. Same thing, you want to get down in the rails. Get down in here where the magazine well is. We'll get a clean patch here. This area is very dirty and a lot of people ignore it. But on a 1911, this is very easy to do because there's not much internals in here to get this all wiped down. Then of course we're just going to take our cotton swab here, go into these rails right here, clean that up. You can see how nasty that was on this side. Get that all cleaned up here. Get up here with the ejector. Get that all out of here. Get into that rail. One thing I like about the stainless steel, you could see, like right there, you can see where some of the dirt is just from that coming off. And we'll wipe this all down. If you can't get in there, if you got one of these plastic picks that come in your kit, you can use this to get down in there and get that area cleaned out, because it does get dirty down in there too. So get that all nice and clean, and we'll get this wiped down, and I'll be back with you. Now you can see we got the inside of the frame cleaned up. Very simple and easy to do on the 1911. So now we're going to go to the small pieces here. We got the recoil spring and guide rod. This I'm going to pop off right here. Guide rod, just take a clean patch or towel, wipe it down. You can see right there this is a little bit dirty. On this piece, I usually don't put nothing on it. If you follow my channel and watch my cleaning videos, usually recoil spring and guide rods, I leave those dry because they could be a failure point. Put that off to the side here. Recoil spring, we'll just spin that around here inside of this patch. Now we got that cleaned up. We got our barrel bushing here, or not the barrel bushing, sorry, the recoil spring plug. Give that a good wipe down. This is another piece that gets dirty. Not very much, but basically all these pieces I just give a good wipe down. Got your slide stop release here. Just wipe that down. This don't really get that dirty. And now we got our barrel bushing here. This does have oil and stuff on there, so we'll get this cleaned out. And then I'll show you what I do with this here in a minute, because I do oil this part too, because this is a very important part of the function of the gun. Get that nice and cleaned out in there. Now if this is real bad, where did my brush go? You could take your brush, this end of it, stick it in there and scrub it. If you want to do that, if you think it's real bad. You don't have to, but that's just something you can do. So once I get this all wiped down, I'll be back and we'll work on the barrel. Now we're going to move on to the barrel here, and you can see we got this soaking. Wipe down the outside of it. Get that all nice and clean. You can see the feed ramp's dirty right there. Just wipe that feed ramp down there. You can see how nice and clean that is. Now on the feed ramps, I do like taking the brush, scrubbing that feed ramp right there. That'll help get that nice, clean, and shiny. That'll always help with the feeding. So I'm going to get this wiped down real quick, and then I'll show you what we do next. Alright, now we got it all nice, squeaky clean here on the outside. Time to work on the inside. Take our brush here. And this one is up to everybody. Everybody does this different. Scrub it as many times as you feel you need to. I got a bore light, and I usually look in there and I check it out and see how it is, and that's what I go by. But that's all you got to do with your bore brush, is just move it in and out like that. And like I said, as many times as you need to. I'll be right back when I'm done with this. Alright, I know it's hard to get on camera here because the light wants to blind it out, but this thing is looking pretty squeaky clean here, and that's all we've done. So now let's get a patch and put a patch through it. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take my brush off, and I use a jag, so I'll switch this out and I'll be right back. Now I got my jag here. I'm going to poke my piece of cloth onto it, and we'll run the first patch through this, and we'll see how nasty this is. That is a tight fit on this one. Oops, sorry, knocked the camera over just about. But you can see how dirty that first one was. So let's run one more through it. Now this is another one. Some people will run these a bunch of times. They'll wait till the patch gets perfectly clean. I'm not that way. As long as it comes out pretty decent, I'm all good with it. And you can see right here, this is already the second patch. And you can see it's already starting to clean up. So I'm going to run a few more through it, and then I'll be right back. Alright, I'm just going to run one more patch through this for you guys to see here. And to me, if you look at this here, to me, even though there's a little bit on there, to me that is clean. I don't try to get the patch completely white. To me, that's a waste of time and energy. So what we'll do is we'll get the barrel here, get my bore light back out, check this out here, and try to get it at an angle for you guys to see. But now it is all nice squeaky clean in there. I'll try to hold the light back a little bit further. All nice and clean in there. So now we got to do reassembly. Now we're going to do reassembly here, and what I like doing is, these are your locking lugs right here. I like taking my gun oil here. I just use the Lucas gun oil. I got a bunch of it. If you don't know, I used to work at a parts store and got a bunch of this. So I'll put some in both of these locking lugs there. And then what I do is I run some down the barrel. I do this on all my guns, but the one reason why I really like doing it on the 1911 is because that barrel bushing here that I was talking about that I like to oil, that's what slides in this, so that'll give it lubrication to move back and forth on that. So that's one reason why I like putting it there. And then what we're going to do is make sure this link is down like that. And I just saw a little bit of dirt there I missed, so I'm going to clean that up here real quick. Thought I had the barrel completely clean, and here I missed a spot. There we go. Then we're going to take our slide, hold it upside down, take it to the end. We're going to put that back in. Then what we're going to do is flip that link back up here. In case you guys didn't see that, it was down like that. You want to make sure it's flipped back up on reassembly. Take our guide rod and recoil spring, put them back together. After I drop it, get it back together here. This should be a tight fit, but that's the way you want it. Now you always want to make sure this U right here is down, touching the barrel, just like that. You want it down there, so we're going to take our spring, slide that back through, put that on there. Then the next thing I do is I take our barrel bushing here, feel it where it's going to go back in and make that slide down like that. And then I'm just going to leave that way. Going to flip this over, get that just like that, hold it with my thumb, and then we're going to put this slide back together. And what you want to do is look through this hole, and once you see that you got the link in that hole, like right there, what I do is I grab the slide release, put it through there, and that holds it. Now don't just go swinging this up, because then you're going to get what they call an idiot scratch. I'm going to wipe this down a little bit right here before we get it. What you want to do is you want to line that gap back up that you used to take it off. Get it to move over. Right there, we got our gap. Now you want to lift up on this, swing it over so it don't touch the frame, and then push that D10 in. This gun's a little bit tight, so it's a little hard, and shove that back in. Now you got it set up perfect like that. I bring it back forward, put the safety back on, grab our plug here, push that back down in there. Sometimes it's a pain to get lined up. Might have to move this barrel, or barrel bushing back over to the other side to give you room, and then shove that down in there. Now be careful, because you might have oily fingers. Take this finger right here and shove that bushing back over it to capture it, and then move it back over all the way. Some people use a wrench to do this, and I highly recommend that if you got bad fingers. You can see how I don't have it completely over yet. Once you have it over, it pops in like that. Then we'll check it, take the safety off. All right. And we got function, reset. All right, everything works on it, so we got it completely back together. Now what I'm going to do is take my microfiber towel and give it a complete wipe down. Now I'm just coming back here. The CLP here, I just use that for a test. This does seem slick enough, but I'm going to take this back down real quick, and I'm just going to show you guys where else to put oil on this in case you want to oil it. Now I got it back apart here. All you really need to oil, if you want to oil it, if you don't think the CLP is going to do, put a drop right here. Put a drop right here. I'm going to put one on the top of it too. Just a little drop here on both sides. And then in the rails. To me, that just slickens it up. I don't know. I'm not a fan of CLP. But that's what I do there. And then I'll get it back together and we'll finish out this video. Alright, I'm just doing this for a demonstration because this is what I think. To me, now with the oil on it, to me it just feels like it's sliding a lot better than it does with the CLP, and that's what I was talking about on that. Now let's finish the video out. So as you guys can see, very simple and easy to clean a 1911. If you're used to striker fire guns, there is a few more steps on it and a couple of things you got to watch out. Mostly with that recoil spring plug, because you got to be careful of that for that shooting out. But besides that, it's really not that hard to do to clean these up. Now I wanted to demonstrate you guys with the CLP and the oil, just because on a 1911 the tolerances are a lot tighter than what they are on a striker fire, and I can just tell a difference. Get the safety off here. When I had just the CLP on there, it didn't seem as smooth, and now I got the oil on there, it seems a lot smoother. I know a lot of people put grease on their 1911s too, and that would probably help out too, but I just wanted to show you guys that with these because of the tight tolerances. Now once again, I would like to thank Gene, Reloading from the Hot Pot, for loaning us this gun. Thank you, brother. It's been a lot of fun shooting this thing and cleaning it. So as always, don't forget to check the links out down below. Down there I'll have links to Axle Hearing Protection, Gators Eyewear, and a bunch of other companies I like dealing with. Some of them got discount codes to save you guys money. Other ones are affiliate accounts that do help out the channel. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Leave a comment down below. We are One Nation Under God. And I'll see you all on the next one.